Hello, Michael Bierman, South Central FS. Today we're going to talk a little bit about micronutrients and plant tissue sampling. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the why. We're sitting here today in a field that's been freshly worked, getting ready to go to early soybeans. And as you can see, a pretty light timber soil that just got some P and K applications on it today. But this field, just like many others, over the last 5 years, we pulled off some really big crops. And although, as an industry, we spend a lot of time talking about N, P, and K, we've also been pulling a lot of micronutrients off of some of these big crops that we're talking about. So it's been an ongoing discussion with a lot of customers that are really pushing for high yields, that are asking us questions of how do we continue to get over those yield plateaus, how do we push for higher yields, and what are some of those limiting factors that we need to evaluate. So one of the tools that we're looking at to evaluate micronutrient needs is tissue sampling. Now, tissue sampling, just to talk about the process first and foremost. So when plants are young, generally speaking, what you're doing is you're cutting plants off about an inch above the soil line. We're taking about 20 plants. We're putting them in a bag like this. We're overnighting them to the lab for analysis, and I'll talk about that more in a little bit. But in general, for corn, soybeans, and wheat when they're young, again, we're taking 20 plants at random spots throughout the field to get what would be considered a composite sample, which is a good aggregate view of just micronutrient trends going on across the field. As the crop starts to mature, so whether that's corn and you want to look at the ear leaf, in wheat the flag leaf, then those situations we're actually taking the leaf, 15 to 20 leaves, and actually sending that ear leaf in, the flag leaf in, or in soybeans some new trifoliates. But really just trying to look at some of those leaves and parts of the plant that are really important for high yield. So we're sending those into the lab, they're drying them down, they're running an analysis, and then what will happen is we will get back a report. Our goal is about 36 hours from the time that we take the sample, we send it off, and we get the results back to be able to update the customer on what those results say. So the type of the report that we get back for a customer looks exactly like this. So the nice thing about the reports that we're able to provide our customer through the FS NutriCrop RX app available at South Central FS is what you can see is it does a great job of listing the essential nutrients down the left-hand side, as well as giving you a bit of a ratings on the scale of exactly what was the specific rating, but then also provide some products from a remedy standpoint, where if that were something in crop where you were looking at trying to remedy some of those micronutrient needs, you've got some recommendations that are based on good, sound agronomic advice and some research that we've done through our FS My Field research to take a look at. Now, the other question that we get a lot of times is tissue sampling just about trying to sample in crop and make those, make an application to remedy maybe something that's showing up deficient? And then the first thing I would say is that's not the only thing that we can do for tissue sampling. There's a couple different schools of thought. So one would be let's look at some problem fields or some areas and let's remedy it. But the other approach and the other school of thought out there is to really benchmark micronutrient needs for the crop at multiple times through the growing season. So part of what we did last year is we had each location select some fields, and we tissue sampled those fields at 3 different times during the growing season. So for an example, in corn would be in that V2, V3 growth stage when that crop's pretty small. And then later on the V5, V6, and then we did it again as we approach tassel with the ear leaf, just to take a look at those micronutrient needs. And the nice thing that we were able to pull from that is, even though our trade territory spreads across I-70, so deep south, a lot of light timber soils, a lot heavier clay content, and then our far north of Route 16, much higher organic matter, much higher productivity soils. The interesting thing from a micronutrient standpoint, we saw a lot of commonalities in the micronutrients and that we were deficient in. So, some of those results from the benchmarking standpoint last year were exactly this. So, you can see that, overall, we had some situations where, you know, sulfur was low in corn, zinc was low in corn, copper. If we want to look on the soybean side really quickly, saw some other commonalities, but you know, magnesium was low. You know, we had zinc show up a little bit, but you know, when we put our individual results back with the broader Midwestern results from GrowMark, we found a lot of commonalities. And you know, for our customer base, the thing that allows us to do is to really bring forth products and recommendations on how we satisfy those micronutrient needs. So, you know, the ways that we can fulfill micronutrient needs, to name a few. So one would be through, you know, dry applications just like this. You know, there's elemental forms, or there's other type of products where we can actually impregnate the fertilizer with some micronutrient products. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is, of course, through growers that are running a starter equipment on their planter. So whether that's in furrow or that's a 2x2 type application, you know, there's a myriad of different products out there in our arsenal to be able to place the products for success in those scenarios. There's also a lot of foliar products that are available. There's dry products. So I guess the takeaway that I want to have for a customer is there probably isn't just any one perfect product that fits in everybody's production practices. It's going to depend upon what the goals of your operations are. But overall, we do believe that tissue sampling and the NutriCrop RX app, so no matter if you're a high productivity soil pushing for high yields, if you're in some lighter timber soils pushing for high yields, but confident with the knowledge of our crop specialists, putting to use some of the tools that we've got available, we can have a great discussion about your operation, how we can continue to reach those yield plateaus that you aspire to. So again, I'm Michael Bierman with South Central FS. Encourage you to reach out to our crop specialists and ask about the NutriCrop RX program and tissue sampling, and wish you the best of luck this planting season. Thank you.